Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2, where I am excited to announce for the very first time in almost 2 years, one of the most exciting Protoss players in the history of the game, the former world champion, the big boy. He's back. It's party. And in a matchup that could have been played at any point in the last 10 years, but I'm happy to say it's being played in this one. It's Micro Jackson. It's ByuN. Parting versus ByuN. We're back, everyone. A best of 3 PvT, and I'm excited to see what Parting has in store for us. Well, I don't know how much he's been playing. I know he's one of the best players in Stormgate right now, as he dunked on me on the ladder there. But obviously no slouch to make it this far in this tournament against ByuN. So, if you like to see... Yeah, you know where this is going. If you like to see the best of the best throughout over a decade of StarCraft 2, well, hopefully, and Jimmy, hopefully you'll like and subscribe. And how many? 1,233 likes on this video, on this cast, on this nostalgic modern-day experience. And I'll cast another series. And always exciting to have new and old options for it. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get a little bit better as ByuN, in typical ByuN fashion, will get a kill with his Reaper despite Parting's best efforts. Will get taken out, but Parting with a perfect time on the Adept Shade will end up surviving and scouting that early Cyclone. Since Parting left us for his obligatory military service, there's been the changes to the clone. There's been several changes, mostly nerfs to Protoss. But the general strategy that Parting essentially defined, and there have been multiple strategies that Parting can claim credit for either getting nerfed or essentially dictating the pace of the metagame. Between the Immortal Sentry build of Heart of the Swarm, Blink Stalkers in general throughout Legacy of the Void, and just this sort of YOLO killer instinct Protoss that only a few players have ever really been able to emulate. Yeah, ByuN coming in. The Stalker. Blink is done. At exactly this moment, he comes in, almost snipes it off. Blink's back. Shield battery. Oh, well, doesn't need an overcharge. And the Cyclone. It does nothing. The medevac will barely get away, but that's the extent of the damage there. Wait. Whoa, 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 whoa! Down it goes! Parting finds it and kills it. No supply will escape. And now ByuN is on the back foot, as he does have one siege tank, but he lost the medevac, which makes it significantly harder to deal with this. The Cyclone is not particularly cheap. It is the cost of a Stalker. And the medevac, of course, that starport time is somewhat precious at this stage of the game. So Parting with his signature Blink Stalkers, already off to a roaring start. ByuN sends out a Banshee. It's going to be 4-gate Stalker here for Parting. A full-on Blink pressure. No intent on a third until trying to do the damage. Does he hesitate? He tanks the damage of the tank, takes it out. Only 1 or 2 shots there. Ghetto Blinks back with the Prism. And already the damage being dealt. The Banshee's trying to come in. The siege tank, he blocks forward. He's not dealing with it. The Marine's doing a lot of damage. Microing back. The siege tank will siege up indeed. He's trying to get on top of it. He does it again. But this one might cost him. He gets 3 tanks, though. He's going to micro around. Banshee comes in. ByuN still doing some counter damage, but the Stalkers just keep going. The damage continues to be dealt. And ByuN trying to target down the War Prism, but that's time wasted. He blocks over the top of the SCVs. Those Stalkers dodging, dipping, diving, and blinking their way through the base. And eventually will be whittled down, but 15 SCVs. Oh, no. And the Stalkers smoothly slip out. Banshee trying to get damage done. 15 SCVs is the total. But ByuN was continuing to build SCVs throughout. So that means it isn't the devastating economic blow it could have been, but certainly doesn't help things. Parting does have to be careful of the inevitable counter swing here, but he killed 3 siege tanks and a bunch of Marines. So it's not like he was just focusing on the economy. He took the targets of opportunity, and the opportunities were abundant. And he's not done yet. He's got the Stalkers in the back. Some of those SCVs softened up, will be finished up now. And a couple Marines to boot. There is no Viking. There's nothing to help deal with this. There's still the Banshee at the back. You know, but ByuN wasn't able to find the damage. The Stalkers find a single area out of range, and Barding will absolutely exploit it. And the Stalkers are 2 pixels out of tank range, which is 2 pixels too many for those SCVs. And ByuN, I don't think ByuN is used to this level of Blink Stalker Protoss. We've had Hero, we've had Max Packs. But, in my opinion, they simply don't have that killer instinct that Barding does. Now it's a double-edged sword. Where, a lot of the time, Barding historically has been so aggressive that even one misstep has been enough to turn the game out of his favor. But he's more than willing to make that step, because 2 out of 3 times, and that's all you really need, it works out for him. And right now, it's like he never left. This Blink Micro it's not perfect, but it's so decisive, it's clearly taking ByuN off guard. It's that level of blunking in your face. The staggered blinks in order to minimize the damage from the tanks and take them out. Where are these medevacs going? Hello, ByuN! And goodbye to some of those units. Only a few Stalkers, but wait, there's more. Where's that Warp Prism? Throughout all this, I'm not sure. Well, the Stalkers could blink over the top. Of course they do, and charge is done. Micros the Stalkers back. Gonna lose a couple, but not too many units getting away. ByuN unable to assert the map control that he usually enjoys against almost every Protoss. As Barding more than willing to sacrifice a few for the good of the many. Or, you know, just to get some kills. +1 attack about to complete. We got the Colossi, extended thermal lance on the way. ByuN does have +1 himself, but he has no more upgrades aside from combat shield in production. And that means there's not really a big follow-up here. ByuN is not going to have some sort of, he doesn't have a great position in order to turtle up and defend. He doesn't have a Ghost Academy. He does not have an armory, correct? No armory. So without those things, and with Barding maintaining a decent probe count as well as getting a 4th base, Barding has map control. And he's not one to sit back. Gonna be showing up right on ByuN's front doorstep. And even though ByuN has some siege tanks, he has a few Widow Mines. He's about to have a couple Vikings. Is that going to be enough? That siege tank out of position. You got to cover the entire mineral line, not just the edge. And now Barding is forcing the orbital back. A single tank. More moving up, but oh no! He starts the attack. Here we go. The force field questionable, but the siege tanks not really able to find great targets. Widow Mines doing enough to the zealots there that the bio was closing in. Stalkers blink back. Colossi able to stand tall, juggles back into the prism. He's even blinking Colossi. Teleporting those Colossi to the prism. And he didn't lose anything much more than the zealots there. Gonna eat a couple Stalkers, but at the end of the day, there's just not enough. He warps in another round and goes again before ByuN is able to reset. And ByuN just unable to take his 3rd. Barding may very well take his life. Barding has lost 19 Stalkers, and now 20 Zealots. But he's shaved off the key part. Oh, that's it. Look at the supply. ByuN has nothing. Barding has just beaten him at the back, at the front, and down the center. A decisive. I don't know why that Ghost Academy was there. But another wave of charge lots. He's got 10 gateways. And those Colossi incrementing out. Now that's it. ByuN, you're not microing your way out of this one. Barding is back. The big boy. With big blinks and better micro. Wow. All right then. Well, I forgot what that looks like. I've complimented a lot of Protoss on their micro, but Barding... That's what we've been lacking. It's not a specific skill. It's not micro or macro. It's a willingness and like a confidence that only players like Zest, Parting, SOS, and MC. That's the list. That's the whole list right there. Maybe I'm missing one. That's not the... Well, immediately. See, I don't have the confidence of a Parting. I don't have the confidence of a Zest. I wish I did. I don't think any of them have wished for it. But it is that, no, I can win this fight. That sometimes... I think Zest had that effect more than anyone. Parting was able to back it up. Zest would throw himself into fights that he knows he's going to lose, or at least if you asked him, he would know. Though he might lie and say whatever. But because he did it with such confidence, players would sometimes flinch. Like they'd micro back or pick up into their medevacs or something and be like, well, I guess he knows something I don't. And he would win fights based on that intimidation. Oh, this time around, ByuN going for the NG Bay block, which in my opinion is a strong move, but also a dick move. But Parting known for twisting those, so we'll see how it works out. But yeah, while Max Pax and Hero, our current top 2 Protoss, are great mechanically. Okay, Hero has his moments. Max Pax, definitely up there. Raynor, also looking great, but that game alone, oh my god, there it goes. I think shows that killer instinct that Protoss requires, because very simply, Protoss units are more costly and less effective most of the time. In a straight up A move fight, they struggle. Jimmy, give Parting his point. I want to formally apologize. So it requires getting the initiative and starting the fight with an advantage most of the time. It's just Protoss is also most commonly able to get that advantage. I know I meandered around that sentence, but with early blinks, warp prisms, charge lots, just the sheer amount of warp-ins and the mechanic itself, Parting demonstrating there how to use that initiative, and he's even going to delay the command center somewhat. ByuN is going for the cheeky factor. How? What a save! Fine. I do want to see how it holds up. Like, ByuN taken aback somewhat by the aggression of Parting. It's been a while since he's dealt with that. But we'll see. And this game looks like it's going to get dragged into a bit more of a macro scenario. As ByuN is getting aggressive early, he's sacrificing a little bit of his early economy with the engineering bag, with the factory follow-up, in order to go for a Widow Mine drop and have these Hellions, which means Parting is kind of necessarily going to be forced to sit back and defend for a little while. If he crushes the mine drop, which is plausible with Blink on the way, well then, he could easily counterattack and just win the game. But I think ByuN's going to be ready. The mine drop, we'll see if Parting has an answer that many players seem to struggle with. As the Widow Mines, you've probably heard my opinion before, are quite a divisive unit. Even when they don't do great, they still can do well. And if they do well, they can do even better. And if that didn't make sense, then the design of the Widow Mine doesn't either. But here comes the mine drop. Blink about to be completed literally the second the first mine burrows. He's gonna deal with it. The Stalkers, oh my, he just, what? Well, that didn't do well. That didn't do great. That did badly. One probe. And this little wall off here. Just like a checkpoint. Not even really a wall outright. But the Hellion, that's so sad. Aw, Parting was like, just micro, bro. Like, just micro. Apparently, that Widow Mine dropped dusted off there. And now, here we go again. He's only got 3 gates, so not as much potential here. That extra bit of stock, but I mean, the SCVs, I can't really tell the difference. Siege tank moving up. I don't think Parting quite sees it. Will he go for it? And he's thinking about it. Banshee. He's gonna get another of the 2 toy depots. But the shield battery is almost perfectly timed. God. Now, it's a little bit out of position here, awkwardly. But the shield battery helping out a lot against the tank. He's still in the main. Parting just acting like he owns the place. So fake it till you make it, I guess. Alright, the tank is in position to hit those stalkers, but Parting doesn't seem to care. It's a bit less overall damage so far. Ooh. Yeah, might have to consider just, blinks out the split second before a tank hit. Will there be another? The double bunker. Wow. ByuN taking this incredibly seriously. The blink in, just kind of testing the waters. But a siege tank comes up, blasts away a stalker. And this is certainly not going as well. ByuN has adapted. But Parting did not commit nearly as much. I like how he's willing to just trade. Like, a lot of softened up SCVs. He's going to want to get her. He's going to want to go back in again. He's not going to recall that prism without taking another shot at it. But Parting has a 3rd base. He's got charge on the way. There's the Robo Bay as well. So, looking towards that Gateway Colossus composition. The one thing we don't have is a forge, but he's adding on 5 more gates. It's going to be 8 gateways really early on here. Okay, I guess not really early on, but at around 50 probes, it indicates he does want to go for that mass Colossus composite. Oh my, he was thinking about if ByuN did not have any units there but the tank and just relied. Oh my god, he gets the Banshee. God. Parting never forgets, and he never forgives. Unless he gets too drunk and doesn't remember, which is like half the time, but still. That reminds me of, I believe it was Home Story Cup 10, where Parting won, and the Home Story Cup trophy is a literal massive cup, like a Stanley Cup deal. And it was less than 2 hours after he won. I believe it was against Flash, when he was playing SC2. He was drinking Red Bull vodka out of the Home Story Cup. So, I mean, he knows how to celebrate, let's put it that way. Which, I mean, if you have this... Good times. Well, charge lots loaded up. Warp Prism headed towards the main. The SCV and the turret standing by, admiring its work. Oh, the error. Ooh, bit of an awkward placement there. And for once, Parting, not quite sure exactly what to do. ByuN holding on to 2 bases, Parting working on his 4th. But he's only 10 workers ahead, so not a huge economic advantage. Just a few hundred minerals. But he does still maintain that control. He's gonna drop the Zealot in. The turret comes out, though. ByuN taking the prism very seriously. And look at the supply. Well, there's about to be a warp in, so that it's a bit misleading, as Protoss usually is with that. Adding on gateways number 9 and 10 now. Cannons along the edges. Quite a descent. What a pylon in the main base there. Powering so much. What a crazy strat.
Who does that?
Another forge on the way after the +1 attack. And, well, siege tank setup. I don't know, I zoned out for a second. +2 in production, +1 armor. We got the second robotics facility. We got ghosts and mines, some spylons out there for Parting. ByuN building up. ByuN, his initiative has been taken away. Usually ByuN is the aggressor in pretty much every matchup. But Parting has just made it impossible. ByuN has to sit back, he has to play defense, And, well, that's not a setup you can break easily. The Widow Mines, ooh, parting, just gonna lose a dozen Zealots or so right off the bat. The Colossi, he's like, well, it looks like there's not too many tanks over this way. Slides up, gonna slice away some of the Marines as well with the thermal lances. Ghosts are out, though. Gonna make it that much more difficult to break this position. Double Robo. We got Gravitic Drive, Warp Prism Speed, 3 more gateways. Going well into the double digits. And double Ruptor as well. Adding in that extra flavor, the extra level of splash damage to just blindside or broadside the Terran army alongside the Colossi. The armory, so I'm gonna hesitate to say late, but ByuN going for the unit composition before he goes for the upgrades here. And a lot of the time that is what can win the game against Protoss. Just the sheer strength of the Ghost Viking bio. Having a few more points of damage on the Marines and Marauders pales in comparison to being able to knock out the Protoss splash damage and half their HP with EMP. Parting is also getting +1 air weapons preemptively, just in case he needs to head towards... Yeah, he's getting a Stargate and +1 air, so he's heading towards potentially the Tempest in order to preempt one of the... Oh, he's got it! He's got the vision there. Yeah, that does give away the Observer. He tries to land that first hit against ByuN. ByuN realizes. EMP soften up the army. Vikings gonna find some decent hits. Whoop. And ByuN. Now, this is the most dangerous part of the game so far for him. Trying to take a 4th base against Parting, who is maxed out and sitting on his doorstep. DT Blink is in production. How many gates now for Parting? He's got 15! Well, alright. He can warp in so many units here. Well, he's got 3,000 minerals in the bank. Almost all those units are going to be charged lost. ByuN spots the army. He's got a fusion core on the way. The Zealots go through the 2 toy depots and actually find the tank, which... quite a funnel there in order to minimize the damage of the Zealots. Parting just keeps expanding. He's gonna go up to 20 gateways and several Stargates. I'll throw him in over 20 gates. Stargates are gates too. Okay. Wait, how many does he have right? Yeah, 15, 19 gate. Oh my god. The DT is coming in. They don't even need Blink. But fires a broadside. The Disruptors find decent connections across the front line. And the SCVs are transferred into the sides of the DTs. And ByuN, while he might have the supply, he just has... Parting is turning map control into a quantifiable part of the game here. That map control is costing ByuN so much. He can't go anywhere without having to look back. But ByuN has the army supply. He has 133. He's got 2-2 done. He's working on ship weapons, level 1. Whoop! Oh, look away, look away. That is a bit of an issue with the observer interface. But speaking of observers, some of them getting taken out, but there's still more. This observer really paying off for Parting. The Dark Templar, he's too late. Down goes the base. Blinks onto the tanks. He doesn't... There's so many different flavors of teleportation here. And the scan runs out. And ByuN, he's still maxed out. Or near to it, but he's struggling to find a fight. Here we go. EMP's Disruptor shots. Vikings looking for an opportunity. Big Ruptor hits, but big Warping as well to reinforce the Colossi. I don't think he lost any of them. He still has all his Colossi. The DTs and the Zealots coming in the left side. And ByuN just unable to deal with this. Another double shotgun blast of the Ruptors. He may lose the Colossi, but ByuN is back down to 3 bases. Parting has essentially unlimited money at this point. The Widow Mine kills a Disruptor. something which the Bio has been struggling to do. More gateway units warped in, parting at 19 gateways right now. 38 supply of zealots every 30 seconds or so. He has the income for it. He has the disruptors to drive the point home. And ByuN, it's just not enough. Parting has leaned on it after that early aggression, and ByuN just couldn't get out of his base. What a decisive match. And Parting takes a strong victory over ByuN, leading us into our next match, which is Parting versus Clem. It's not over. We're just getting started. Parting versus Clem. Yes. All right. A little bit. I kind of had an idea of how that series would go, but I don't know the outcome of this one, which is, well, Clem is currently the #1 Terran player in the world. All right. And for a couple months when he was first crowned, we weren't sure. Is he really better than Maru? Well, he's certainly, unfortunately, better than Maru right now. But in general, I think Clem has reached an unprecedented height in terms of Terran. And apparently NG Bay blocking is the way. But here we go. Series 2. This was the next match played after that one. So Parting getting through ByuN and make it, like, he looked better. What can I say? ByuN, unfortunately, trying to play that kind of conventional Terran against the least conventional Protoss. It's refreshing to see that sort of decisive. In my opinion, the game can get stale. All right? Getting the perfect build that you can play every game, having this kind of 3-base defense until 7 minutes style. Especially as a commentator, someone who wants to beg for your likes and subscribes and get some new clickbait every day. Seeing these more consistent styles does not spark joy. But instead, Parting's high-risk, high-reward Protoss and Clem's just unparalleled micro. Those are the kind of plays that I love to see. Well, we're assuming that Clem's micro is on point today. But so far, it feels like he turned it up to 11. I don't know what happened in the last few months, but Clem has finally kind of unlocked that last aspect of Terran, which isn't the micro. It's the patience, I think. It's the hardest thing, I think, for Terran players to really embrace, because every Terran player, every up-and-coming Terran player has had near-perfect micro, with only a small amount of exceptions. It's like, oh my god, did you see what he did with his Marines? Marines, the most micro-able unit in the entire game. But at some point, it becomes impractical to only make Marines and Marauders. And Clem, over the last few months, especially in offline matches, not just online, where you're at home, got your shoes off, or however you play, pants, nope, who knows, not important. But instead, on those high-profile matches on stage, beating players like Cyril and Dark, so... The double Cyclone shows up, Parting. Hello? Oh my god. Well, he kills one. Huh. Well. Well, this certainly was a little bit less of a solid defense. Yeah, alright, there's two more. I didn't even finish my filler intro gushing over Clem. Yeah, he's super dead. Wow. Okay. Attack of the Clones. Welcome to 2024, Parting. And this is... We saw ByuN go for the Hellion follow-up, but Clem understands the power of the new and improved, at least at this stage of the game, Cyclone. Well, that... So, we're gonna move quickly into game 2. Get you a little bit of whiplash there, but... I feel like that needs no further... So, yeah, Clem, just because he's learned patience doesn't mean he needs it. Let's put it that way. All right. Game 2 is going to be on Oceanborn. Kind of crazy that... Not so crazy, but a little crazy. We're playing exactly the same maps in the same order so far. It appears that both ByuN and Clem and Parting have agreed that these are the Terran versus Protoss maps. These are the most fair through the pick ban process. To have them in a best of 3 back-to-back really does kind of point that out. I think these maps are not favored for either side. They're both maps where NG Bay blocking is possible because of the rush distance, but it's not particularly hard to narrow down the options if you're a Protoss as well, like we saw Parting do with the Blinkstalkers. Like, there's a pretty wide open side of the main base where you can work with Blinkstalkers on both of the maps. So it's kind of a give and take there. And that time around, Clem taking a lot more than giving. But here we are. Game 2, Clem doing what ByuN could not. Factory on the way. No NG Bay block this time, so we will survive, I think, past the 4.5 minute mark. Oh my god. I'm not even... I'll be honest, I was too busy pontificating over Clem to really tell exactly what happened there, but it did look like you're kind of cookie cutter. So here's the risk. If you go Adept first, you don't necessarily have enough Stalkers to defend the Cyclone. Timing. I believe what happened is Parting went for the Adept first. He didn't quite time it perfectly, so he lost the Adept, didn't have a shield battery at home, and just simply did not have enough Stalkers to defend the clones, which is a risk of not preemptively building a shield battery. You kind of need a shield battery and at least 2 Stalkers. He had 2 Stalkers, no shield battery. 2 Stalkers and Adept, maybe. But Clem is not going to give you those extra 5-10 seconds. There is no better version of the build than whatever Clem comes up with. So. Reaper gets in. Facing ByuN. Like, Clem is like ByuN's... it's weird to say son, but Clem is almost 10 years younger than ByuN. ByuN, I believe, going on 30. Clem is 21. So no, not quite, but like kid brother of ByuN, I think, is more accurate. And they both share so many qualities. For so many years, Clem was like the non-Korean version. Now Clem has finally surpassed him, I feel, as ByuN still. And I say this as someone who's closer to ByuN than Clem's age. Let's put it that way. Actually, I'm a little older than ByuN. It gets harder and harder to kind of adapt your playstyle over time. Dark notwithstanding. As Dark never had a playstyle. He's just kind of like an amorphous blob of deadly gameplay. Moving on, though. It does feel like ByuN had decided his style 5-6 years ago, and has just been doing it ever since. And the game hasn't changed so much that that's not still valid. Parting is kind of in the same place so far. He's doing the Blinkstalkers, which are the most common and consistent of strategies nowadays. So we got the Raven. Widowmine drop is waiting. He's waiting, I think, for the Stalkers to show themselves on the other side of the map. It's going to be 4-gate Blink with the Observer. Well, Adept and the Reaper traded on the other side. Oh, Reaper taken now. Double bunker. And he spotted the Stalkers, which means the mine drop will come in. He waited for his moment. Parting will micro away. But they just slips him back into the medevac, denying mining, while focusing on the defenses at home. Meanwhile, blinks into the main, but there's already a tank. Good positioning on the tank. He uses the buildings to literally zone out these Stalkers and make it impossible for Parting to do that little double blink. Oh my god, Stalkers flying up towards the skies. Auto turret! And these Stalkers are getting slapped out of the base. And does he have an armory? No, he's just not targeting the mine. That's a very dangerous move right there. Okay, deals with it. And Clem is up 5 workers, and he doesn't just slap down. He crushes the Stalker attack while setting up. He's forcing Parting to look away at all, which is something you really can't do. And the double bunker concave. The student has become the master. It's so crazy watching. Essentially, almost 2 of the same series back to back, but with just 2 different takes on it. Slightly different builds on different maps, but the same styles in both series. But Clem is clearly, and here comes the Viking. The recall might be too late. I think he's got it. Yeah, you gotta be very careful in that timing. The Viking. Clem even stutter stepping the Viking closer so the projectiles would hit faster. But not quite enough. If he takes down that prism, it's very likely that Clem can move across the map and just kill him. But with the prism still a threat and those 4 Stalkers, Parting still has a fighting shot to keep Clem bottled up for long enough. He even got the medevac back home. Forge on the way. Parting does have his 3rd, but Clem's got it halfway done. And that stim timing is looming large right now. Even has a Raven with the double medevac here. The triple threat, +1, the stim, the combat shield. Salvages one of the bunkers. I'm sure the Warp Prism will try to come in here, but charge isn't even quite done yet. Loses a Stalker. 3 tanks with this. He lost 0 tanks, which is a significant difference to the previous series. Parting clearly scrambling here, as this army is bearing down on his 3rd. Oh, that is a lot of Terran. If he could get the Raven, that'd be very helpful. It doesn't have interference. Actually blinks over the top to help with the defense. A single Colossus, no extended thermal lens. He needs to get on top of this as soon as possible. Anti-armor missile could be very helpful. Auto turrets as well, just slaps him down. Shield battery overcharge, helping out a bit there. Roasts a few of the Marines. Still going to be a shoestring defense for Parting up against this. Clem repositioning his tanks, just waiting out the shield battery overcharge, puts them on the ramp over here, and the tanks will continue to siege. And this attack is starting to grind its way through. The upgrades are there, the army supply is there. Parting. Concussive shells is now finished. The Widow mines are in position to zone out the Zealots. Reinforcements are on their way across. And Clem is tightening the noose right now. Extended thermal lance is done. Parting is waiting until the Nexus is actually threatened, and right now, not quite. Losing some shields. There's only 1 tank. Here we go. Gonna try to use the Widow Mines against Clem. So far, not. Oh, he loses so many of the Zealots. Anti-armor missile on the Colossi. Force fields will keep Clem from chasing him down, but what a costly fight there. Clem has lost 2,000 less minerals. Alright, anti-armor missile. Clem actually divided his own army. It now might be conquered by Parting. Oh, the double drop into the main. He warps in a lot, and he's going to recall how much of this? And picks up at that exact moment, of course. The Colossi can step down, and now coming in, he's joining in from both sides. The Colossi on their way down. Shield battery overcharge helps out a bit, but it's taken out as well. And Clem is just everywhere. He recombines with his army. He's using those Vikings, but the charge lot warping is enough, and the Colossi are maintained. Parting really working this position, but it's just... Clem is not slowing down at home. He's not slipped on his production at all. He still has plenty of units, a 40 supply lead. The Widow Mines, they'll be dealt with. His armory, well, Clem going for that same style ByuN did, which is the later army and a focus on the unit composition. Some of the Marines shaved off, but Parting lives, and he doesn't lose much of his economy. I don't think he really lost any probes. He lost them in the main to the drop somewhat, was where most of the probes went down. But he still has, going on 4 bases. Well, 4 bases done. And he's got +2 on the way, and I think he's adding some Archons in here, indeed. So far, he's not dead, which is the first step to winning. But Clem is clearly able to maintain a level of aggression that his spiritual counterpart ByuN was unable to do. Now, there's a chance that Clem just watched this series against ByuN as well and knew exactly. The thing is, Clem has the best Terran versus Protoss in the world. Oh my god. It's so cinematic. He plays against Max Packs pretty much every other day. And Max Packs has been the most consistent top tier, especially online, obviously online, Protoss. So you see the difference. The Marauder heavy composition. He's got, Parting saved the Colossus. He's got so many gates. He's kept many of the Colossi alive. He's gonna take out some of the Vikings, but you know what they say when it comes to Protoss units. That which doesn't kill you leaves you permanently damaged and super vulnerable to things like EMP or Marauders in the future. Gonna be able to take this out. He knows the mine is there. So Parting still maintaining some semblance of control. And look at the supply. He's grinding his way back through. Clem does have a 4th base, though. The single mine drops coming in. Like, I can't stress how important it is. He sharpens his sword, which sounds a little weird out of context, but constantly facing against Max Packs, who is also the best Protoss versus Terran. Both Max Packs and Clem have somewhere close to like an 80-90% win rate against players of the other race who aren't each other. Like, Max Packs is able to beat almost every Terran in the world who isn't Clem, consistently. And Clem is the same against Protoss. I think that here is the decisive difference. Max Packs has tried every sort of blink all in. Max Packs has tried every sort of early pressure and cheese, and Clem has learned to defend it. But Parting, his focus on incrementing Colossi, like, he's survived. And Clem has had to back off. So credit to Parting here. The fact that he survived that kind of cross-cutting, multi-pronged medevac aggression, that impressive, if nothing else. Oh my, that's a lot of Vikings. A disruptor. The Viking count is too damn high. There's a dozen ghosts in there. He's got 11 of them, but he finds an opportunity for the Warp Prism to drag the army back. And that is a huge deal at this stage. Will allow him to retake map control. The Warp Prism dragging a whole bunch of the army supply. I believe there's an observer in a very key position, allowing him to know, allowing Parting to know exactly where the army is. And that's the best chance he has to land those disruptor hits, is to take the initiative. Because playing disruptors on defense is just a recipe for creating another Clem micro montage. But when you're retreating like this and constantly stimming, he is shaving off big parts of this. And he's going to try to hold the door, hold the ramp, but it's not going to be enough. The Vikings, the disruptors have not recharged. And down go the Archons before the disruptor recharge. He might lose them before the fight even really happens. Fires another shot, the Marauders take it out. And Clem is just tearing through everything. There is way too much damage here. A Zealot counterattack is good, but this is a game-ending army out of Clem. Disruptor hits might be able to turn the tides, but here on Oceanborn, It looks like Clem may very well drown Parting in a sea of blue. The Stalkers are not remotely close to enough. These are 2-2 Marauders going on 3-3. Actually has the upgrade advantage. And just such a stark difference between Clem and ByuN in this matchup. Parting still looking very good, but this, I think, was a bit of a reality check. As Clem right now, he's gonna check almost, well, honestly, Clem right now is looking like the best player in the world. So, Parting going down, not surprising, and honestly surviving that long, somewhat impressive. But Clem managing to lose half the minerals, still an incredible Terran, the best. We're working on the best player in the world. Maybe not the greatest of all time, obviously, but God, so intimidating. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think. I've been thinking about doing some of these double series. It's a little risky on the algorithm, but I like having some extra perspective, and hopefully you do as well. Hopefully I made your day just a little bit better. If you got the means of motivation, awesome to check out Patreon, but liking and subscribing, still free, last I checked. Awesome to check out recommended, autoplay, all that stuff. Either way, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck, have fun, stay chill.